When you hear the term fastest gun in Phantom Forces, what comes to mind? The running speed? Maybe the aim speed? Maybe the fastest to unlock? While yes, those are technically correct, today we are going to be talking about the fastest weapon in Phantom Forces by firing speed. Specifically, this firing speed. But before we do that though, let's get right into just how big that number is. If we just take something standard like the M4A1, it has a firing speed of 780 RPM, and it looks something a little bit like this. Okay, not bad. However, if we tone it down a little bit and we go to something like the M3A1 with a firing speed of 450 RPM, it looks a little bit something like this. Pretty slow, not gonna lie. However, if we ramp it back up again with the Vector with a firing speed of 1200 RPM, it looks a little bit like this. Okay, we're getting pretty quick now. So bringing it all the way up to 1620 RPM. Yeah, I think we have a pretty good idea of how fast it's gonna be. And because you've waited this long, let's see what 1620 RPM actually looks like. Yeah, this is gonna be fun. But wait, there's a contender, because while 1620 RPM out of the MG42 is super high, there is another. That being the Thompson with this amalgamation of cursed attachments. So what we're gonna do in today's video is go over both of these weapons and compare them in a few different ways, since they have the same fire rate but are completely different guns by every single metric. So let's go on this adventure together, and hey, if you end up enjoying the video, consider leaving a like and subscribing. It helps the channel a ton. And you know, Roblox merch and stuff, you know, all the usual. We'll actually go ahead and we're gonna start with the MG42 here, because it's the first one that I talked about earlier, and it's also kind of the thing that inspired me to make this video. Now, I actually got this video idea as well from a stream that I did around a week or so ago, where somebody pointed out that both the Thompson and the MG42 had the same fire rate, and it was just like, it just made me want to use them. Also, MG42 is kind of fun. Maybe very fun. So if we just go over some basic stats of the MG42 here, we can actually see, if I take off hollow point, that we're doing a maximum of 41 damage out to just 20 studs. It's a very, very short range, all the way down to 25 out to a maximum range of 120 studs. Now, the interesting thing about that is the fact that it is a guaranteed 4-shot, which a lot of weapons in the game really just aren't, especially whenever you're talking about fully automatic weapons like this. Now, we can actually see, if we talk about the weapon just kind of stock here, the weapon walk speed is going to be 10, which is very, very slow. And if we throw on the light bolt, which is one of the attachments required to do this fire rate, it brings it up to 10.5, a little bit better, nothing crazy though. And of course, the other part of this puzzle right here is going to be the muzzle booster. And of course, I don't even have to talk about recoil stats, because they don't matter on this thing, because you're not going to be able to compensate for it. There's just no way. Oh my god, that's a shotgun. I just got out-sniped by a shotgun. We're going to go to a different server. Now, if we go and we swap over to the Thompson, we're going to be looking at a solid 37 damage out to 60 studs. So a guaranteed 3-shot out to 60 studs, which is very, very good. All the way down to 19 damage at 120 studs. Same distance as the MG42. So we've got a little bit of similarity there. We've also got similarities in the fact that we use a muzzle booster, but instead of having a light bolt, we use a thing called the M1919 conversion. Very expensive. But instead of getting like a 50 round, like, I guess you could say drum, maybe technically, for the MG42, you get a 20 round box magazine, and that's it. Now, the recoil is going to be not nearly as harsh because you're firing a much, much smaller caliber. However, the recoil is still very, very rough. As you can see by this example right here. Yeah, that guy's like, there's no way I'm killing this guy. It's just it's just not gonna happen. So we do have a small handful of similarities between the two, and the fact that we use the muzzle booster, and the fact that recoil is insane, and of course the fire rate. But that's basically where the similarities end, and we're left with what is essentially 2 fire hoses that cannot be contained. Now, for the actual gameplay portion, I'm gonna switch over back to the MG42, because again, I'm just craving to use this thing, bruh. You know if you know. It's a very gross thing to actually try and use if you've never used it before. However, it's a really simple concept. Once you kind of get the hang of it, it's really simple to go off of. Pretty much all you have to do is just, you do your first shot here, immediately pull straight down. Oh, and I'm out of ammo. All right, reload, speed run, let's do it, boys. So if I want to go ahead and like aim it right at this corner here, you can see I can laser that corner just a little bit by pulling straight down as I fire. I guess technically you can kind of tap fire with it, because again, the damage is relatively high, but the accuracy is going to be basically non-existent with this thing. Ooh, oh, I saw a little man. Saw a little man. Peek again. Please. He's terrified. He knew. He just accepted his fate at that point. If you've ever used the M231, which was like the OG meme weapon for Phantom Forces, you'll kind of understand how this weapon works and kind of understand the concept of basically how these like insane recoil weapons kind of work. Now, there's not even really a playstyle to be able to use this thing with either, because of the very fact that, there's no playstyle for this. So you know what I like to do? You know what I like to do is exactly what I'm doing right now, which is just holding W and running for my life. I'll find a corner, sit down for a little hot moment there, and then just keep going. Oh my goodness. Now, one of the ways that I also kind of like to use this is with hollow point, especially because it gives you some crazy up close damage, which I'll show you in just a moment whenever I inevitably die, because this is not going to last all too long. Oh my god. It's so much fun. It's so much fun. So anyway, we go from doing 41 damage up close all the way up to 49.2 damage. So not quite 50 damage, but it's basically 50 damage. If someone's even taken like 2 damage, that's it. That's a 2-shot. Ooh, no. ADSing is going to be the way to go with this. That hurt. That one hurt. There is a point like right at the end of your magazine where you can just like barely see out of your sight. So I can say like I can basically tell where the rounds are going, right? I don't want to play this map, bruh. I need to play a close range map with this bad boy. I'm probably also going to throw a sight on this because as beautiful as the iron sights are, this is just, I need a sight on this. So also one of the major differences that you're going to see is going to be in the running speed, which is relatively high. Like, this is going to be one of those weapons that you can actually, like, functionally play a very fast playstyle with. In this case in particular, we are going to be getting up to 14 walk speed, which is some of the highest in the entire game. Now, of course, that's just because it's Thompson submachine gun, fast movement. Yeah. I mean, it doesn't take many brain cells to know that this is smaller than the MG42, I guess. Ooh. Yet another difference between this and the MG42. The MG42 gets to keep going. This is, you peek, you get one magazine out, and you have to run away. Now, we'll actually go ahead, and I'll say we can throw on something like a comp aim point. Yeah, let's do that. This'll do something. But it clears, like, the whole barrel, so I have, like, a full sight line to be able to see out of. Oh, dang, I should not be in a European server right now. I can feel that ping, dude. That's a grenade that I'm standing on. I just... The expert. I am the expert, guys, just so you know. Now, there's about the same range potential as well as the MG42, where it basically just kind of doesn't exist. But if you get, like, super lucky, like, if I wouldn't necessarily call this spot, like, a range spot, but for a weapon like this, it kind of is. You also do kind of have a similar thing with, like, sustained fire, where once you basically, like, empty your magazine, like, right at the end, you can actually kind of see where your shots are going and adjust just that little bit extra. But really, once you get that first, like, initial burst out of your weapon, you're, like, out of ammo. So you have to do something like that. You hear the footstep, you swing around, boom, you're dead. Now, if I had a little bit more credits, I'll get some more credits because I really want to get hollow point on this. Come to me, Mr. Hollow Point. There we go. So now we're doing, what was it, like 44 damage, which is pretty good. It's still going to be a 3-shot. You just get that little bit extra damage squeezed out of your enemies. Oh. Bro must have had some unreleased springs in his body. Don't know where you came. Oh my god, no way I missed that. No way. We're both terrible. We're both horrible players. Now, of course, if you're a better player than I, this might be a lot more of an effective weapon for you, and it's a very, very fun and effective weapon even for me. It has a very, very similar effect to the Vector in terms of, you know, crazy fire rate, small magazine. So if you like the Vector, you're more than likely going to like this, just kind of with a much worse recoil that you have to compensate for. I mean, for whatever level you can compensate that. Ooh, ooh, ooh. The kill chains with weapons like these two are super fun. Now, technically you can tap fire with this as well. It's just like, it's just not effective, really. Yeah, like it is just, that is difficult to do. I guess technically you could do like small bursts, but the recoil is just so heavy. It's just not worth it. Just don't do that. Yeah, I mean, like I said, they're both really, really fun weapons. I'd recommend using either of them. Now, unfortunately, the level differential between the two is very high as well. MG42 being at level 242 and the Thompson being at rank 121. But of course, you also have to factor in the cost of the attachments and everything as well. So it just kind of comes down to, you know, your personal preference. Again, for me, I think I prefer the MG42 just because of that larger magazine size. But the Thompson, I've always had a good time with anytime that I get to actually use it. And I really, really love it with that 1919 conversion. Also, technically, with a certain amount of attachments, you can also get the Tech 9 up to 1620 RPM, which takes us all up to 3 weapons that you can do this with. But honestly, I'm just going to focus on the primaries for today. And this will also probably get its own video in the near future too. God, that would have been the sickest kill chain right there. But anyway, let me know which of these two that you actually enjoy more yourself. Have you used both of them? What do you think of them? Let me know all that stuff in the comments below. Also in the comments below, you can find a pinned comment of the Roblox merch that you can pick up just for the holiday season. Of course, huge thanks to the channel members that are currently up on screen, and a special thanks to the top tier channel members, Jared Smith, Solitude, Sienna, Lumpy Bacon Face, Trooper MLG, and Lazy Goth. And if you want to become a channel member, you can do so with the link in the description below to help support the channel just that little bit extra. Huge thanks for watching. Of course, subscribe if you're new. And yeah, I hope that you enjoy the rest of your day. Peace, dudes.